Hey everyone, my name's Anirudh Singh Chohan. I'm on Made in India with May, and this is my song. It's called Nickel and Steel. Nickel and steel, and some phosphor bronze. When they meet the callous fingers of our singer, nothing is wrong. What a great escape is a sunset mirage. Just a few old strings that make the rosewood sing on this old guitar. Be my savior, be my savior. Save me again. These days I've been taken to drinking. In the afternoons I watch true crime reruns. Daytime and nighttime and all the in-between time collapse into one. Don't need no love, don't need a friend. Nickel and steel is all I need in the end. Be my savior, be my savior. Save me again. Don't need no love, don't need a friend. Nickel and steel is all that I need. Nickel and steel is all that I need. Nickel and steel is all that I need. Nickel and steel is all that I need.
Hey, Anirudh, thank you so much for being here on Made in India. And that song is one of my favorites
Thank you.
from your debut EP, right?
Yes.
Unequal Music.
Unequal music, exactly.
It's
That's
so
the name
good.
of it.
I love it. So actually, it just came upon, again, a lot of people send me music, drops in my inbox, and I listen to it, and I'm like, this is not what I've really heard before. And it's really cool. And that's why you are now today on the show.
I'm
Takes
very
one
glad to be here.
takes one email, man.
I guess, yeah. I mean, for those listening in, I guess write those emails, because I
Get
did,
that stuff
and
out
I'm
there.
here. So
So you're originally from Delhi, like you grew up there,
that's true. Yeah.
and I do know that it was your dad that kind of introduced you to like Simon and Garfunkel and music and that kind of thing. Is that where it sort of
Yeah.
started for you?
Yeah, my dad's a pretty cool guy. He's like, he used to be a sailor, and like we had music collected from all over the world. Like I was listening to like reggae, like he's a big Bob Marley fan. And then there was like
course.
Mozart playing in the house. There was like obviously we're like Punjabi, so there was like ghazals and there was like Sufi music and that kind of stuff. And then there was Simon Garfunkel. He's obsessed with Simon Garfunkel. So very early on, I would like listen to those harmonies and I would be like, what the hell is that? Like, that sounds amazing. But I didn't quite know what it was until much later. But yeah, I got introduced to a lot of good music early on.
That's quite cool. I do know, and please correct me if I'm wrong, you as a kid used to use a tennis racket and imagine it was a guitar.
I did do that. This I have done. I did. And I did it to like, I know exactly to what. Like one of my first kind of inspirations or whatever as a kid, just loving music was Lucky Ali. And he used to play this like mandolin.
Yeah.
I got to meet him actually at one point. But yeah, he used to play like a mandolin, or at least in his videos, he would be playing like a little mandolin. And I was like, oh, that kind of looks like a little tennis racket. And I had a tennis racket. So I would pretend play like guts as strings.
To like Cipher or something.
Yeah, exactly. What a great record, right? Like Cipher is amazing.
So from there to seeing you, and by the way, we've done like a hugely deep dive. I think the first
shit. Fuck. No.
Are you terrified?
Yeah.
I actually went to one of the first videos you ever put up on YouTube. I did. I absolutely did.
That's
and
horrible.
do you even know what the first video was?
I think I know, and I'm embarrassed already.
It's I think you were this is what it's called. It's called Stop This Train Lesson / Tutorial.
Oh yeah. Oh, this would have been like what? No, maybe that's not the first video. Maybe that is. I don't know.
It is. It's the oldest one.
Crazy.
On your
Yeah, it got a lot of views because YouTube was new then. Like and I just learned how to do this.
Yeah.
This.
That slap flick thing, right?
Yeah, exactly. And like, I think now like everybody does it. But back then it was like I thought I had discovered something interesting.
Yeah, you were like, I'm going to show you John Mayer's like how
that thing had like it has some like 16,000 views because back when I posted it, nobody had I mean, I kid myself a little bit there, but like few people had figured it out. So when I put it out as a lesson, and I think Continuum had just come out then, like people were actually looking at it for...
Yeah, this was around 2007.
Yes. Yeah, that's when it came out. Actually, like maybe Continuum came out 2006. I'm not sure. Yeah.
And then, and that was your first one. I enjoyed it. Then eventually it's just like Ryan Adams and Elliott Smith covers.
There's a lot of Ryan Adams and Elliott. I had a phase. There is a sad music phase.
Sad boy phase.
I'm out of it. I write funny songs now.
I could tell. So besides, like I said, you grew up in Delhi. Then you actually studied electrical engineering, right?
Yeah,
that's what
here in Bombay. Yeah, I studied electronics engineering. Somehow music found its way even there. Like I was tinkering with guitar amps and like working for a really cool startup that used to be, I don't think it exists anymore, but they used to make like vacuum tube, like valve amps.
Wow. So you were actually building out guitar amps.
Yeah, I built one as like my engineering project. I actually played like guitar in my Viva final year, like BE Viva. And
no way. You're like, so this is my Viva and this is the guitar amp that I built. And I'm going to play it. Are you serious?
I actually got a lot of, like, I think that's the only subject I really scored in because I actually made something interesting as opposed to everybody who just buys projects, I guess.
Yeah.
That's what kids used to do.
So then how did you end up working for the guitar amp making company?
I had just a friend, like, he's a guitar player. There's this guy called Muhammad Ansar, lovely guy, great, sort of also like a hacky engineer. He started this company called B3 Amps and we would play around like in Bombay and I got to know him. Then I was like, okay, I should like do my project with him and learn how to make amps and stuff. And even now, like I tinker a bit, make like mods on pedals when I have some downtime.
That's so fun. Just a little earlier, you were telling me about an idea that you had.
Yeah.
You have to tell everyone this
I
idea.
can't. Okay, cool. Somebody, like, this is IP protected, so anybody who steals this from me,
they'll get
I need like some
legal
royalties.
notice will arrive in your
Exactly.
doorstep.
Like I have lawyers. So anyway, this is an idea I had for like a pedal company called Evictor Pedals with like one switch, which is like a boost circuit that's on top of everything else. So yeah, that's the eviction button, which if you switch on, you will get evicted from your house. And I think that's just like a little marketing spin on a very simple boost circuit. But yeah, I think it could work. I think it'll sell a lot. Somebody should make it.
I think it's a cool idea, and honestly, it's fun, and the name is also super cool.
Evictor pedals. I have a logo and everything. Like that's all I have. Unfortunately, like one prototype that half works and a good logo. That's it.
I know. So I think this is also really interesting that you're, these are things that you're building out. You're kind of like a bit of a nerd as well. So I want to know, because, when we're talking about guitars, initially in college, you actually picked up a bass. Was that what you picked up?
I was playing bass in school, like, before 2007, that embarrassing video. I guess the history of music in India is that nobody wants to play bass. I think, I think it's been told before, right? Like Hash Bass was on the podcast. I saw that.
Yeah.
He was like, I couldn't play anything else. And it was the same thing. Like I had I was in a cool school with like a lot of great musicians.
Yeah.
And they all found the bass to be the least sexy thing to do. So somebody had to do it. And I took on the responsibility to play bass for my school band.
I'll take the hit, man. I'll play bass.
Yeah, I mean, back then you just thought like if you're a guitar player, you should be able to play bass. But when I actually started learning the bass, like in school, I learned like, these top two strings pretty much set the context for all of what's going on. And also like it's a different instrument. It has to be played differently than a guitar. And I think that even helps me now as a guitar player. Like I play guitar like a bass player sometimes, which is quite, like, I think it's slightly
quite rhythmic, I guess. Like, right?
Yeah, it's different from how like a guitar player plays a guitar. Like I don't play the guitar like a guitar player pretty much.
I like it. I like bass. God damn it.
I love bass.
I don't see bad things about bass. So, besides that, as we crawl along through our stalking adventure of Anirudh Singh Chohan, I'm so glad that you're here in Bombay because you actually work in Singapore. And one of the things that I started to look around for was that I found this really cool ad that you did with an ad agency. I would say 2 words: moon pillow.
Oh, yeah, right on. Yeah, that was interesting.
Which was like really bizarre. It's like a crypto
thing. I work in crypto now. Like I work in Web3 and I'm super passionate about it. But that was like when I was still working in the ad world and one of my clients. Yeah, it's super nerdy too. Like I can go into it. How deep do you want me to go into it?
But can you just broadly explain what moon pillow is, just so people know? Because it's like the most rando thing.
It was like a product that we made, actually. It was really not an ad. It was like a product that was made for this kind of exchange that kind of solved for unlike like regular finance markets, like crypto markets are 24/7 and people literally don't sleep. That was the problem. Like a lot of traders, they just stay up all night tracking prices and they literally lose sleep about it. So we made this pillow that was an alarm system that you could set like a tracker. And if your position or whatever was moved like up or down, it would notify you. And other times you could just sleep.
So it would like vibrate kind of thing?
Yeah. It had like vibration tech in it. It was pretty funny. It was like
what is this?
Yeah.
It wakes you up and there are fluctuations in the cryptocurrency.
Yeah, it was pretty funny.
Moon pillow. So one of the things that like, again, like as I'm sort of like, people are going to discover about you. And I think everyone, especially during the pandemic, kind of ended up doing a lot of cool different things. Like, you were working and releasing your music. Another thing that you did was the Apocalypse Show, which was like this Instagram Live, which honestly, I love the way that you sort of talk about it. Because like one of the things you say is like, it's in a way to survive the quarantine, me and my special guest play sad songs for sad times.
That's exactly what it was. Like it was called the Apocalypse Show because the world was ending. At least it did feel like that then.
Yeah, pretty close.
Yeah. And it was in Singapore. It was pretty intense too. It was like serious lockdowns, nearly 1.5, close to 2 years of that.
Yeah.
And the whole idea was to kind of play some, like, I don't know if you've seen the Titanic. Everybody's seen the Titanic.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
There's an epic scene in the Titanic when the ship is going down and these violinists are playing the violin.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, can we be that for everybody else? Like, we know that this shit is just going down, and maybe we can just play some music, some somber music to
keep everyone company.
Yeah. And actually, the funny thing about that Apocalypse show, little, overture that I had was I got some really famous people on there, like people who had been on like NPR Tiny Desk and like seriously great songwriters. Cool. Because everybody's tours were cancelled, right? So there was...
They had nothing else to do.
They had nothing else to do. So they were replying to like...
Anirudh?
Anirudh's DMs on Instagram. And like I got some of my heroes to come and talk to me, which was like,
that's the best. Oh my gosh.
It really was. I wish I could do it again.
So I think all of us have the ultimate. Who was like the ultimate that you got on your show?
I don't know, the most famous person?
No, the person that like brought you was like, I never thought I'd ever get a chance to talk to this person, and I've loved them, or they've been part of what, of my life in some way. So is there someone that you got a chance to have on your show?
I mean, I'll say who was the most famous person because they were Indian. Strangely, there was Parsuram and Singh, so Nishchay was on. And that was a nice conversation. But the one that meant the most to me was this really old, like really amazing artist called Dan Reeder. He's like this cult kind of hero of folk music, and he's even now like he's a bit undiscovered, but like he's one of the most incredible like songwriters in the world. And yeah, I got to interview him, and like he showed me his studio, and he makes his own instruments, and he showed me that on Instagram Live, and it really felt like I was transported to like...
You're like, Dan is my friend now.
Yeah, he was. And then I actually went to Germany and met him. Like I actually went to his house and I actually saw his studio and hung out with him. So yeah, I did make some friends. It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. This is not just like a reply to your DMs. This is like, can we hang out? That's super cool. I think for me, I mean, even doing this show, right? For me, the ultimate, which was like the moment where like I can die happy right now, was when I got the chance to interview Apache Indian.
Wow, who was like, no way.
Like, yeah, it was coincidentally he was on tour here, and then I had this moment where I had this chance, and then never in a million years would I have ever thought I'd get Apache Indian to be on Made in India. I was like, this.
That's crazy.
And then that was my ultimate. Like I said, I'm like, you know what? If the world ends today, I'd be like, at least I met Apache.
That's funny.
So what is the second song you're going to play for us today?
All right. I'll play this song called High Hopes, which is an ironic high hopes. It's not really about high hopes.
Of course not.
And it's also not to be confused with the great Pink Floyd song, High Hopes. It's a different High Hopes, not a cover.
Fair enough.
Well, I like nothing more than to come back home and open up a can of beer and put the TV on. And I know just how dull that sounds, and oh my God, what a bore when the weekend comes around. I'm not one for the outdoors. So baby, there go your high hopes for me. nothing more than to be left alone. Then I like nothing more than to be left alone. I know how that sounds, I know how that sounds. I'm working on it. I know how that sounds, I know how that sounds, and I'm working on it. So baby, let go your high hopes for me.
I gotta say, High Hope sounds super different. And I like this version.
Cool.
I really do. I think it sounds good. So let's go, before I get into the debut EP, I wanted to actually go back, way back.
No.
So
this is not going well.
It's like, please stop it. I beg you. Your first demo on SoundCloud?
Is that okay? What is that?
It's called Movement. It's like a 35-second guitar twiddling.
Yeah. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, and I heard it wasn't bad. You're not singing on it. It's just like...
it's just, wow, I'm glad you think it's not bad, because I think it's pretty bad. But basically why I made that was because I don't know if anybody, maybe musician nerds know this, there's this software called Amplitude, which was which let you plug in. So I didn't have a processor when I was a kid. I didn't have all the effects. So I would pirate this software and then play via the computer. And it allowed me to get those weird sounds that are in.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, it's not bad. I mean, it's 35 seconds of you twiddling.
Pretty much.
It's when I say you're like, I think it's terrible. I'm like, I have heard far worse. So I'm just saying,
cool.
At least even if someone's twiddling around, it can be fun. So talking about your debut EP, can you tell me a little bit about how it came together and what it was about?
Yeah, it's kind of difficult to say what it's about, but I can tell you why it's named the way it is.
Yeah.
So I'm a huge Vikram Seth fan, and there's Unequal Music, which is the book.
Yeah.
Very, very nice book.
A friend gifted me that book. And the sad thing is it's like, you have a pile of unread books.
Yeah.
It's in that pile, but
you
yes,
should definitely give that a read. I'm a big fan of Vikram Seth, and especially that book, and especially the way he describes musicians and music. And it's a little silly pun on the title of that book, which is Unequal Music. This is Unequal Music. And why I called it that was because half of the songs that are on the EP are really serious and somehow meant something to me at some point in my life. And then the other half are just jokes and fun and not taking myself too seriously and not even taking music that seriously and just putting stuff out there. And somehow both of them coexist for me, right? Really meaningful, deep music, and then just casual fun that you just make with your friends or even alone, or noodling. And somehow both of them represent me, I guess. I'm equally both things.
Yeah.
So I thought that would be a good...
Equally the fun and equally the silliness.
Yeah, which is unequal. Yeah.
So I did. There are also, because you played both the songs you just performed just now are both on the EP, but there are a couple of songs that aren't. So, and I loved both of them. I mean, I love the whole EP,
Yeah.
but I also liked your song Together Again that came out in 2020,
Yeah.
and even Hillary.
Yeah.
Hillary was so good.
But Hillary is not my song, so I have
Is
to
it
say
not?
it's a cover by this really obscure singer-songwriter called
Damn.
Eve Barsley, and he was on my show on the Apocalypse show, and I asked him for permission because I love that song so much.
Oh, that's really
and
sweet.
and he was kind enough to let me.
It's a
do
great
it.
song.
Yeah,
I gotta check the OG one now.
you should. Yeah.
So one of the things that, again, I really enjoy also, and I barely talk about this, is that I really do like your lyrics. And I like lyrics that are very simple, but very evocative, right? Like, so even, Nickel and Steel, it's so simple. It's like, nickel and steel, when they meet the calloused fingers of our singers, nothing is wrong. It's so nice. Like, there's something, like I said, there's something really simple about it, but at the same time, it evokes like very vivid imagery. And I like that. So, what do you have like a sort of process, especially when you're writing lyrics?
I wish I had a process. I don't. I just like more so now than before. I end up like thinking about like one thing. Like that song came from a very specific place, which was again pandemic induced sort of
Yeah.
aloneness, really, and being. Yeah, I used to live alone, and I lived pretty much in isolation for a year and a half. And the only thing that kept company was like a guitar, and even the guitars started to feel like whatever after a point, and then it was like strings. So it was like changing weird strings. So I got nickel and steel strings that I put on my old Martin, and it sounded completely like a new thing. And I didn't expect that. And I was like, wow, this, like, somebody has to write a song about this. Like, why aren't people playing nickel and steel strings? So I changed like a couple of guitar strings, like a couple of my guitars to nickel and steel. And I learned later that Nick Drake actually used to play nickel and steel strings. And all the great records that you find by him have this aged nickel and steel string tone because they just become dead in like 2 days. They age super fast, and that's why probably nobody plays them anymore. But so like that specific tone inspired like, oh, nickel and steel can save my life pretty much.
Oh my God. So you do have, I mean, talking about this, you do have a guitar collection of some sort.
Yeah.
And like, I think one of your guitars called Jasmine. Is that right?
What?
One of
Jasmine?
your guitars is called Jasmine. Like, it's like a random name that you named it. Like,
I do that from time to time.
Yeah.
I don't think they stick. I just like whatever.
I know. Clearly you forgot.
Yeah, maybe you know more. But yeah, no, I like I said, I nerd out. I actually like have, I don't know, at this point, maybe 14, 15 guitars.
Seriously?
It's a habit at this point, and nobody keeps me in check. So I have no one to answer to. So I indulge myself. I don't own a car. I don't have any investments that are worth anything, but I have a few guitars.
A few guitars.
Yeah.
So lastly, before you play your last song, I just wanted to know, do you have any plans of like working on some new stuff? Are you planning to put out more new music? What are your plans at the moment?
I have no real plans.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't really like. Honestly, I don't even think of myself as an artist. Like, I think of myself as a really good hobbyist. Like, I would like to be a really good hobbyist.
Tell that to all the other professional musicians in the world.
I mean, I guess people like take offense a little bit at that, right? Like, you should call yourself an artist. I mean,
no, you don't have to. Do it. You do you, man.
Yeah. So I
bass.
very much approach it like, okay, do I have something to say that's interesting that I think someone would like to hear? Then I put it down.
Yeah.
Otherwise, I have tons of songs that will never like be released. I already have recorded them, but they're like just things for me, really.
Yeah.
But yeah, I do have a couple of songs that I'm working on that I think I should put out, and I'll probably play you one of those today. That's like a new one, and yeah.
So yeah, your last song for today.
Cool. Right on. I'll play this one.
What's it called?
It's called A Loving Hand for now.
That's the temp name. The
temp name.
The untitled version. But yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Awesome.
And I held out my hand for you. And I held out my hand for you. And I never knew how to play it cool. So honey, give me a sign. Won't you give me a sign? And take your loving hand and place it into mine. And cards that you hold, I beg for you to fold so close to your chest. Maybe lay to rest and take the leap of faith and take a leap of faith. For even if it breaks, and take a leap of faith. Take a leap of faith. For even if it breaks, take a leap of faith. For even if it breaks.
Hi, this is May Thomas. I know you can't see me with this amazing camouflage that I have on, but don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to Made in India.